If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I don't love that quote. I think it's kind of overused and overly ominous, but it does ring true. There's a reason it keeps coming up, especially around this time of year when we're all planning, or we should be planning 2026, right? We should be planning for the year ahead, is we all stop and think about this and think about what we want for that year. And then my other favorite quote, right, is a goal without a plan is just a wish. So you got to have the goal, and then you got to create a plan to support that goal to make sure you actually get there. And then look back and go, okay, what worked, what didn't. So, marketing strategy. This is more important than ever when it comes to your marketing strategy because there are so many platforms. There are so many different things you can write about. And this is something that I myself have struggled with this past year is I realized that I had a little bit of shiny object syndrome, right? A little bit of, oh, I could write about this and oh, I could go over here and oh, I can do this. And I wasn't focused on what I really wanted to do and who I wanted to serve and what that problem was. And my business suffered as a result. I talked about this in a previous video, the fact that, oh yeah, I need to focus again, so that I can stop bouncing all over the place and have a really clear brand strategy that outlines who I am, what I do, how I do it, who I do it for, what's the value that I provide. Why should I care? Because when you're kind of bouncing all over the place, it's really hard for people to follow all of that and really get a clear idea of who you are, what you do, why we should all care. Confused prospects don't buy, and they certainly don't send you referrals because they're not really clear on who you are, what you're doing, why anyone should care. So, to make sure that we don't do that in 2026, here's what you need for your plan. The beginnings of your plan. This is not like a full-fledged marketing strategy, but it's the beginnings. Very first and foremost, look at what worked and what did not work. Where did your business come from in the past year? And marketing can be a little bit tricky because it's not always where did your business come from. Sometimes it's what got clicks, what got attention. And there's value in that. But if people are clicking and engaging and paying attention and no one's converting, and you give them months and maybe you give them the year and they still don't convert, maybe it's time to move on from that kind of content and move on to something else. For example, I used to do webinars every month for 2 or 3 years at least, because it always worked. I almost always got a new client when I hosted a webinar. And then last year, I did the same thing. I hosted the same webinars, same time, did all the stuff to promote it, got people there, gave the webinar, never got a single client. So at the end of last year, I was like, all right, it's time to do something else. Scrap that, move on to something else. It was not working. By contrast, I also do a lot of networking, and there are some networking groups that are really great for me. There's one networking group in particular that I knew was going to be good for me because all my ideal clients are there. And there's another networking group that's not really full of my ideal clients. It's full of a different group. So I wasn't expecting that to be really effective, but when I took a look at where business actually came from, I got a fair amount of business from that group. So I was like, okay, I guess I should continue showing up over here because this is working for me. So the point is, do not rely on hunches or feelings or assumptions. Look at your data. Look at what worked and look at what didn't. Review your marketing personas. Lately, people have been using the term ICP for ideal client profile. Whatever the term you prefer, the point is you have to figure out who it is you're talking to. So this is a good time to look at who you worked with this past year. Who did you really enjoy working with? Who are the clients you were excited to work with? Do they match your ICP, right? Your ideal client profile. If they don't match your ICP, and you're kind of struggling to work with those people, turns out they're not really ideal clients, then maybe that's a sign that you agreed to work with people you should not be working with. And that's a whole other conversation you need to have with your business coach. But maybe you brought in people who are newer clients, not people you've worked with before, but you're loving working with them. You're so excited to do all these great things for them. They're excited to be working with you. It's a great relationship, and they don't quite fit your ICP. Maybe then it's time to review your ICP. Maybe you've outgrown your old ICP. Maybe you might still love working with them, but you're really looking to work more with this group of people. Your marketing needs to reflect that. And that means your marketing personas need to reflect that. So it's time to update your marketing personas. And a great way to do that is look at those new clients that you got that you love working with, that you're excited to talk to every day or every week or every month or however often you check in with them, right? What are the things that they have in common? And what is it about them that makes you love working with them? For me, it's people who are passionate about their business because that passion is infectious. That's just one example of something that I look for in a client is, are you really excited to get up and do this every day? And if yes, why? And if not, why not? Is that something we need to talk about? So what are those things that are kind of overlapping that you love working with people? Next up, you need to review your messaging because if you're targeting a different client, if your messaging is a little bit different, if you're trying to do something new in 2026, nothing wrong with pivoting in 2026. I'm doing a kind of a major pivot this year, right? So I'm going to be talking more about branding, less about writing and writing tips. So more about branding and marketing strategies. So that it's fine to do that kind of pivot as long as you're strategic about it and you know what you're doing and you know why you're doing it. As long as you're doing all that, then you have to go back and make sure that all your messaging actually reflects that. Your website, that's a huge one. Got to make sure all your website is all the content on your website is up to date and reflects your new brand. Your Google business profile, all your social media profiles, including YouTube, your email signature, your bio for any websites where you publish content as a guest contributor, including sites like Matchmaker.fm and Podmatch, if you're using those to get booked on podcasts, any websites that you use to get speaking gigs, also important to update those. Your profile on all your networking websites, your elevator pitch, that's a huge one. Again, if you're doing a lot of networking, what's that 30-second elevator pitch that you use to tell people who you are, what you do, and why you should all care? It's kind of a lot to fit into 30 seconds. So really think about that strategically. Any and all printed materials you use to promote your business. And if you use a large language model, LLM, like ChatGPT or Claude, to help you create content, they need to know too what your new brand is. If you've adjusted your brand voice guidelines, if you've adjusted the audience you're targeting, they need to know that so that creating content going forward, they can adjust accordingly. Just like you would update a human assistant on, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the new direction we're going in. Here's what you need. Why this matters. AI. Last or 2 weeks ago, I talked about AI in, what happened in marketing in 2025, and the answer is AI. AI happened in 2025. That's all anyone can talk about. So the more people use again, the LLMs, the ChatGPT, the Claude, Perplexity, all those, the more they use them to look for information, the more specific searches are getting, right? Google had already done quite a bit of this as far as we know exactly who this person is and all their interests because we're tracking every single thing they're doing. So every bit of content they were getting is very tailored to them. The LLMs are very much the same. They're very much going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. And the more you use them, the more they figure out what it is you want to hear. So narrowing down and really zeroing in on your niche and creating content for that niche and answering questions that niche is asking, that's what's going to help you get in front of those people. And again, that content is going to be really powerful so that when they do find you, they're more likely to stay engaged, and then you have a better chance of leading them through the whole buyer journey all the way to that final call to action, whether it's schedule a consultation or a sales call or buy the thing or whatever that last step is. You're going to have a much higher conversion rate at the end if you have really zeroed in on who they are and what they want and how you can help them. So absolutely focus in on that. And then branding, right? As far as on the content creation side, there are a lot of people using the LLMs the wrong way to just create content for them instead of helping them create content that's more effective and more streamlined and more targeted to their ideal clients. So that has led to a whole lot of AI slop. You may or may not have heard that was the word of the year, according to Merriam-Webster, was slop, referring to all the AI regurgitated content. I don't say AI repurposed or AI generated because AI does not generate anything, it regurgitates. So that's what we're dealing with. So if you are really clear on your brand and you are using AI, either not using AI or using AI the right way, to help you create content, to streamline your content creation process, and making sure that you are inserting your brand voice, speaking directly to your ideal client, and you always have your own unique perspective, your own take on a subject. Those are the people that are going to come out on top in 2026. So that's why it really matters to really zero in on your brand and your ideal clients. So if that is something you think you might need help with in 2026, absolutely reach out. I love this stuff. Would love to talk to you about your brand and your marketing strategy, and I'll actually help you put together a plan so you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks, because you can waste a whole lot of time, energy, and money doing that, and no one wants to waste that stuff. Life is too short. We got to move, right? We only have 12 months in the year. We got to get going. So that is it. That is everything that I have for you today on the basics, the very first things that you need to do to get your marketing strategy for 2026 up and running. And if you need more help, I do also have videos on creating your marketing persona, creating your brand voice guidelines. So if you want to check out those videos, highly recommend that, because that's kind of a step-by-step guide, takes you through the whole process. So that is it. Any other questions? You need more information like this, you can head over to my website, which is AV, as in my initials, Allison Verhalen. That is avwritingservices.com, and you can reach me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. That's it. Have a great weekend. Happy blogging, everyone, and a very happy new year.